Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
That was a bad loss. The Flyers lose in a shootout to the Calgary Flames. This is why it bothers me. 1, the Flyers had a very late lead in this game. 2, the Flames were lifeless coming into the arena. They've been getting shut out. They've been on a losing skid, a brutal losing skid. It looked like they didn't even want to be out on the ice at times, and the Flyers dominated them. But they didn't execute enough. They didn't score enough goals. Give credit to Rittich, who made some timely saves. But when you are the Flyers in that position and you see a team that looked lost emotionally, lost physically, you have to attack them. You have to get on them early. You gotta score early, take control of the game, and blow them out of the water. And the Flyers missed an opportunity to do that. They allowed the Flames to hang in there, and eventually it costed them as they fall in a shootout. I've stated this before this season. Sometimes you walk out satisfied with a point. This is not one of those times. You have to grab the 2 points on your home ice against a team that is not playing good hockey at all lately. Before we dive more into this, do not forget about the promo code BROADS that you can use at SeatGeek's checkout page for $20 off of your total purchase. So you can use that money for parking, for beer, for food at the arena, whatever you may like. Use the promo code BROADS today. Some weird things with the lineup. JVR, fourth line left wing, and Shane Gostisbehere as a healthy scratch. Here's the thing. Robert Hägg takes his place, and it's not as if Robert Hägg really moves the needle. He only played 11 minutes, while every other defenseman played 20 plus. Justin Braun was 19 minutes and something seconds, but I round that up to 20 minutes. So all the other defensemen are logging in 20 minutes or more, and Robert Hägg is barely cracking 10. I know Ghost has not been playing well, and I understand that Alain Vigneault is probably using this moment to spark a little fire under his ass because he has been playing good hockey whatsoever, and it's a wake-up call. Yo, dude, if you're not going to play good enough, I'll throw Robert Hägg in your place. But I don't know how much of a threat that is when you're not even playing Robert Hägg when he's in the lineup. JVR played 9 minutes. 9 minutes. I'm sorry. You paid this guy big money. I know he's not scoring you 40 goals right now, but he's not going to produce on the fourth line. That's not the type of player he is. He's not a flashy 40-goal scorer, 30-goal scorer. He's a goal scorer, but he needs to be put in the position with good players to perform. He should not be on a role-playing line with Raffl and Pitlick. You paid him too much money to do that. He needs to be playing more than 9 minutes. I like Alain Vigneault. I really do. I like the structure and the way he calls out his players and the fact that he holds people accountable. But I also think he's overthinking that as well. I'm sorry, but JVR cannot be playing 9 minutes on your fourth line. You paid him too much money to do it. First period in this game, 0-0. Both teams were tied with shots after that period. I thought the Flyers had the better play, but as I stated, they didn't execute on some of their chances. In the second, they came with a wave. The Flyers had a ton of opportunities. They actually scored. Sean Couturier to Travis Sanheim. He throws a biscuit on net. It squeaks through Rittich, and it's sitting in the blue paint. Here comes Jakub Voracek flying through and putting it in the wide open net. I thought Jakub Voracek had a strong game. He is clearly in the doghouse with Alain Vigneault trying to work his way out of it. I thought that was a strong performance. He caught my eye. He played with a ton of energy. He was all over the place. I really liked the way that Jakub Voracek played as he gets his 200th goal. It's very impressive. Sean Couturier, speaking of him, he got the assist. He had 9 shots on net, and he was active. That's the best way to describe Sean Couturier's game. Very active, throwing pucks on net, getting grade A scoring chances, throwing a lot of pucks towards the netminder. I thought Sean Couturier had a phenomenal hockey game as he records an assist on that first goal. So the Flyers are up 1-0 after 2. I thought they should have had more goals than 1 after 2. It honestly felt like the Flyers were going to lose that game. One of those games where, and I was processing this as I was watching the game, it seems it's one of those games where the Flyers control the style of play, they control the speed of the game, they get a lot of shots on net, they definitely work harder than the Flames, but somehow, because the lead wasn't big enough, because it wasn't as big as it should have been, it felt as if the door was open for the Flames to come through, and that's essentially what ended up happening. But during that time when I expected this to occur, I was questioning, is this team different? Is this a different type of Flyer squad? I know they're young, I know they're going to have some growing pains, but is this a different team? Is this a unit where they realize, you know what, we left the door open, but we still found a way to close it before the other team was able to come in and score? Not the case, because in the third period, 1 minute in, turnover by Morgan Frost, and not only a turnover, but he did something afterwards that bothered me. So he turned the puck over in the defensive zone, right into the slot. Flames get a shot on net, and it goes in. It's tied 1-1, 1 minute into the game, into the third period, I'm sorry. After the turnover, he goes out to the man and jumps out of the way. Okay, here's the thing. No. I love Morgan Frost. I think he has a great skill set. I think he's got filthy hands. He's got speed. He's going to be special. I can't wait to watch him grow. I can't wait to watch him play in this league for years to come. You make a mistake like that, you sell your body. You block that biscuit. You do anything you possibly have to do to make sure that puck does not reach Carter Hart. He jumped out of the way. He couldn't have looked more scared to block that biscuit. I am really curious how Alain Vigneault is going to address that with him. He talks about it all the time. These young guys, they don't have a lot of money in the bank. And they were even talking about that on the postgame show with Chris Therien. That's one of Alain Vigneault's go-to. Like, these guys don't have a lot of experience in this league to show him if they make a mistake, they're ready to flip the switch the next shift and put it behind them and move forward. They don't have enough tape to prove to Alain Vigneault. So if you make a mistake like that, you really, 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 really have to find a way to prove it to him and get his trust back. But the way that he jumped out of the way after the turnover, that bothers me. It really does. You have to lay out. You have to block a biscuit. You got to pull an Ian LaPerriere and block one with your face. Has to be done. That's the way you earn your trust back in that moment. And I think he handled that moment very poorly after that. It's just my personal opinion. I didn't like it. Under 4 minutes to go in the third, though, the Flyers get a break. Rittich trying to play the puck behind the net. Joel Farabe, mucking and grinding, finds a way to beat Rittich, throw a pass out front to Kevin Hayes, who buries one for a 2-1 lead. It was a big-time goal. The Wells Fargo Center was electric. It seemed as if the Flyers were going to leave the arena with 2 points, even though they should have crushed the Flames. It felt like they were going to do it. They let up a goal. The Flames pull their netminder to 6-on-5. Their defenseman throws a puck wide on net on purpose. It banks right back to Lindholm backdoor. Carter Hart really couldn't do much on that play. It was unlucky. Definitely a play that is practice. You miss wide on purpose. You let it bounce back to the far post. It's not Carter Hart's fault. It's just one of those plays. Now, after the game, I was curious to hear Alain Vigneault's discussion to the media about it, and he loved the way the Flyers played that 6-on-5. They kept everything to the outside, and that's true, and I understand that completely, but I felt as if they were too laid back, and they sat back, and instead of putting pressure on them, forcing them to make a play, they played very, lackadaisical is not the word, but they didn't put pressure on these players outside the dots, and I know you want to keep everything outside that way, but if you're going to let them work it around with ease and get position and move the puck around and get lanes and options that they want and make them feel comfortable, well, I don't know if that's the right way to really address that situation. If you go after them, you force them to make a play under pressure, well, maybe they turn the puck over, the Flyers can chip it out, or they can find a way to put it in the neutral zone and someone beats a defender to put it in an empty net. I wanted the Flyers to be more aggressive, but Alain Vigneault loved the way that the Flyers played that and said it was unlucky. I thought they sat back too much. Passive. That's the best word to describe it. They were passive in that situation. 3-on-3 overtime, the Flyers had so many chances. Travis Konechny buzzing around, so many chances, all of them, and they couldn't score. And the shootout happens. Of course, the Flyers look abysmal in the shootout. Joel Farabe tries the same move he tried last time with that little flip to the right side as he's cutting across. Now, it almost worked, but listen, in this league, people are going to watch. People are going to see what you do consistently. You're not going to be able to continue to do that move over and over again. Claude Giroux, I can say the same thing to him. He tried the clap bomb thing, and it didn't really work. He hesitated. He ended up firing it. It did not work. Now, Keith Tkachuk, yeah, he's not playing in the league anymore. Matt Tkachuk had a filthy dangle on Carter Hart, opened up his 5-hole beautifully, 5-hole tuck. I look at Carter Hart and I say, you were fine today. You were fine. He didn't do bad. He didn't have a spectacular game, but it wasn't a game for him to really have a spectacular game. He wasn't tested insanely. You can't yell at him for allowing 1 goal and 3 opportunities in a shootout. He did his job. I walk away with Carter Hart and say, you did your job today. There's nothing really on you. A turnover in the slot for the first goal. A goal where it banks off the back wall and goes to the far post with 6 men on 5 for the second goal. And then you allowed 1 really nice breakaway goal. I mean, it is what it is. And that breakaway goal is on a shootout in a skills competition for the second point. Carter Hart was fine in this game. I forgot to mention, with the new lineup today, Scott Laughton back in the lineup after the finger injury. See, he was playing third-line minutes, and to me, when I mentioned the JVR thing, Scott Laughton can play fourth line. To me, I'd rather see JVR up in the third-line role. At the least. He can't be playing 9 minutes a game. That really does irk me. I'm a big fan of Alain Vigneault. I think he's overthinking the sitting guys. It's being too harsh about it. I don't know if they're responding fully. Is JVR gonna break out now that you're sitting him for a game and keeping him on the bench and only playing him 9 minutes and putting him on the fourth line? Is that the best way to get more out of JVR? I don't know if it is. I just don't know if it is. All around, this was a bad loss. You get a point. Whoop-de-doo. This is a game where you should have gotten 2. This Flames team was a dead team. They were a dead team with no life entering the Wells Fargo Center. How come it always seems like the Flames have our number? They're not that great of a team. Johnny Gaudreau, the South Jersey native, comes back home. He ends up getting an assist on that 6-on-5 goal. Unbelievable. The Flames always have our number. He seems to always have our number. I thought he was going to have a goal in the overtime period because that's just the way it would go. But he actually had a turnover on his side of the blue line. And Kevin Hayes had a big scoring chance. Speaking of Kevin Hayes, I mentioned how Jakub Voracek had a nice night. I thought Kevin Hayes was active as well. He scored that empty netter, and I laughed and chuckled thinking maybe this would be a way to get him going. And it was funny because it was a empty net goal where he sent it down pretty much the full ice and it went in. But just seeing the puck go in, knowing you were on the score sheet, maybe it would help him go. And he ended up cashing in this game as well. And I thought he was strong. I thought he was strong and very noticeable. It wasn't a bad effort, and it wasn't as if the team didn't work hard. But here's the thing. You need to put a team like this away early. If you jumped on them early, scored 2 goals in the first period, the way that this Calgary Flames team has been playing, they would have been down. Body language would have been brutal. They would have been really disappointed in themselves, thinking, how do we get out of this slump? But the Flyers did not do that. The door was left open for them to come back. Let me know what you think down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.